Now to an incredible everyday hero story. A stranger who heard a horrible crash on Thanksgiving Eve. 8 teenagers were in that pickup truck in Highlandville, and one heroic man came to their rescue that night. The boys were doing what they love to do, roping and riding at a friend's house in Highlandville, before a final ride would forever change their lives.
Everybody was back in town, and we all just decided to get together.
They were just together for the Thanksgiving holiday and wanted to spend some time with their friends that they don't normally get to see.
After a fun day at the farm, the 8 boys decided to take a drive. It was almost 11 p.m. They piled into a pickup and headed down Pleasant View Road. Matt's mother was asleep when the phone rang.
There was a friend on the other end of the line that was frantic and said, "Have you heard the boys have been in an accident?"
Eddie Todd heard the crash from the hilltop of his home.
3 vehicles have hit the exact same tree. My wife Denise looked at me and said, "Honey, you know what that is."
Another wreck, this one far worse than any Eddie had ever seen. This is where the trip took a deadly turn. The truck was going too fast around that curve, went onto its side, and smashed into this tree. And the sound of that crash is something that haunts Eddie to this day.
It's a horrific sound.
He jumped into his Gator with his son-in-law and took off down the road. 2 of the teens were already out of the truck.
I said, "So it's just you, the boys?" And whenever he looked at me, and he said, "No, there's 6 more in the truck." I was like, oh my Lord.
There was no cell phone service, and Matt was screaming for help from the wreckage with a broken shoulder, broken ribs, and a concussion. So Eddie drove to a church to call 911.
If he wouldn't have been there, I don't know how we would have called 911. Everybody is so disoriented.
And then another disaster. The emergency helicopter arriving with medics crashed in this field after hitting power lines. It was Eddie who got back on the Gator to help the crew and rush blood from the chopper to the injured teenagers.
I just did what anybody would have.
4 boys were killed in the crash. 17-year-old Landon Potts and 19-year-olds Logan Middleton, Cody Huber, and Lance Porterfield. Cody was Matt's best friend.
Just doesn't make sense.
He doesn't remember the crash or seeing the stranger who came to his rescue.
The night of the wreck was without a doubt the worst night of my life, and I'm sure there's many people that can say the same thing. And he definitely made the best of the things that he could control, and without him the story could have been different. So I would just like to thank him for everything that he did that night.
Because of that, we will forever be grateful and feel connected to Eddie for the courage and the strength that he showed while he was helping the boys when we as parents couldn't be there for them. He's certainly a hero in our eyes.
Eddie is now trying to get a sign on that curve to warn drivers to slow down in hopes of saving lives. All of our everyday heroes will be honored at a luncheon today at noon at University Plaza Hotel.